Today we're going to be looking at some of the most common sets of beliefs that people have that hold them back and make their life worse. Now, I've been a confidence coach for over 6 years now, and before that I was working as a probation officer in the field of corrections, and I've seen the same 3 limiting beliefs come up over and over again, causing the most amount of suffering and misery, and they're actually fairly straightforward to correct. The first belief is this: other people's opinions of me matter, and I must avoid causing negative reactions. It's just a fancy way of saying I care what other people think of me. To have this belief causes an intense focus on social approval, a massive amount of concern in your mind as to how other people think and feel about you. And this concern grows over your lifetime until it drowns out your own morals and values and goals, and all you can hear is the raging voice of concern about what other people are thinking, in particular what they're thinking about you and how they feel about you as a person. As Darren Brown puts it, we're so worried about other people thinking about us that we don't realize that they so rarely do. And what he means by that, of course, is that we know ourselves that we spend a lot of time thinking and worrying and concerned about our own problems in our own lives, and yet we don't stop to realize that other people are like that too. They don't have much time to spend thinking about you and judging you and feeling things towards you. They're so busy with all the other shit going on in their life. So you're spending a lot of time worrying about a thing that doesn't happen very often. One of the things I learned starting my own coaching business is that the people who were most discouraging of me and judgmental of me for doing this were also people who had fairly crappy lives. I know that sounds judgmental for me to say, but the proof was right there. They had terrible relationships, they had poor health, their careers sucked. And I'm worried what they think of what I'm doing? You'll find that so often you spend a lot of time worrying and concerned about people whose opinions are pretty dubious. And if they are discouraging of you and judgmental of you, you've got to ask yourself, is this the kind of person who role models a great life? Is this the kind of person I should be caring about? Because what you'll find is that the people who are living a great life, the people who take care of their psychology, they're on a mission, they've got a great career, they're working on great relationships, they take care of their health, these people are rarely people that you need to worry about what they're thinking, because usually they're encouraging and supportive. The simple fact is that one that you probably haven't considered, you don't need everyone to like you. Really. It's not even possible. There's 7 billion people on the planet, thousands of different cultures. The likelihood that everybody could like you is 0. It is not possible to be someone who everyone likes. But the key truth is, it's fine for a lot of people to dislike you. There are very successful people in all areas of life who have a lot of haters. When you start your own business, there's a kind of a truism which is you only need 1,000 true fans. And I've found that to be really accurate. Any business can survive if they have 1,000 true fans, 1,000 loyal clients and customers. Any business can survive on that, at least at a small level. So you don't need billions or millions or even hundreds of thousands, just 1,000. The rest of the world can hate you, and that business will be fine. The same applies to your social life. You don't need hundreds of friends to have a good social life. You just need a couple of great, deep connections, and everyone else can hate you and it won't matter. The truth is, you're not really worried about what other people think because you don't even know what they think most of the time. You're just making it up in your head. You're assuming they think certain things. And sometimes you get pieces of evidence, but 90% of the time it's a fiction that you imagined. What you're really scared of is not what they think, but confrontational emotions. That's what you're afraid of. You're afraid of them and you feeling uncomfortable feelings. And this whole worried about what they think is really a worry that you might do something that causes uncomfortable emotions to arise. So you got to understand, if you can develop yourself into someone who's comfortable being uncomfortable, someone who can handle any emotion when it comes up, then you'll never need to worry what other people think ever again. Now, I've linked one of my podcasts below called Let Them Hate You. And it'll take you through an entire system of changing your thinking so that you can become okay with being disliked and being judged and being mocked and being ridiculed in order to be you and to find the people who are great for you, to find the clients who love your business, to find the friends who love your real personality, and so on. Once you let go of people liking you and embrace dislike, you'll be free. The second belief that holds people back is the one that says, I'm not good enough, with the implication that you need to be good enough. This belief leads to people struggling towards perfectionism, or the opposite, which is just giving up completely. They struggle to enjoy their achievements and their accomplishments. They're always undermined by this "it could have been better" mentality. And we become obsessed and very anxious about success and very concerned and afraid of failure. The funny thing is, when you think about it, you'll realize you don't even know what good enough even means. You don't have a clear description, a clear milestone that you need to accomplish to be good enough. It's just always a sense that you're not. So it doesn't really matter what you do, because this voice comes in and says, but blah, blah, blah. So you might go, I finally went and asked for that promotion, from my boss. That was a really courageous thing to do. And then your mind goes, yeah, but you didn't get the promotion though. And there's always that kind of element to it. No matter what you do, your mind comes and kind of kills it with this "yeah, but." One thing you've got to understand, you're never going to be good enough. Just take that in for a second. You're never going to be good enough. You know why? Because you're chasing a rainbow. No matter how close you get, it's always going to move further away from you. So every time you achieve what you thought would be good enough, by the time you get there, the milestone will have moved. It will be undermined. You'll finally yay, I'm finally a millionaire, or yay, I finally got married. And the voice go, yeah, but now you need to do this, or you could have done that better, or it wasn't quick enough. No matter what you do, you'll never satisfy that voice in your head, because that voice is always unsatisfied. You often fail to recognize that every effort you've ever made was your best attempt. That was the very best you could have done. Not only are you always good enough, you're actually perfect, because you couldn't have done better. No one tries to suck at life. Think about it. When have you ever tried to be terrible, right? You're always doing your best. It's always the limit of your capability, the limit of your courage, the limit of your energy. Any given moment in time is you striving to live with the restrictions that you've got. So how can you be better than that? You're alive, which means, of course, that you're good enough to survive. So is that good enough? But the truth is, you don't actually need to know. You don't need a good enough. What you need to do is let go of the good-bad dynamic altogether and replace it with something much healthier. Instead, aim for valued living, what we in Brojo call integrity. Was I honest with what I just said? Have I been courageous and faced some fears today? How do I need to take responsibility for my problems? What should I accept about what happened today? How can I respect my body today? These kinds of questions don't have a good-bad answer. They just have specific actions you need to take. If you're taking those actions, then you're living with integrity. If you're doing something else, something more harmful, then you're not. And at any given time, you're either doing it or you're not. There's no good enough. You're either on or off, and you can switch between them anytime you choose. It's always under your control. There's no such thing as good enough. Now, if you don't know what your values are, join up with Brojo. It's completely free, and sign up for our Discover Your Core Values course. This will guide you through what your preferences are, what your personality is, so that you can create a list of values with guided actions, so that each day you can figure out how you're supposed to be behaving without having to worry if it's good enough. The third and final limiting belief that we'll be covering today is the idea that there is a problem-free way to live, and it's probably financial security. I don't know how this happens exactly. I know it's something to do with schooling and the way we're influenced by the media, but we grow up believing that there's a finish line, an end to all our struggles. Many of us believe that this is wealth. It's either retirement or the accumulation of great wealth until you're officially rich. Others believe it's popularity and being loved so strongly and so consistently that you'll never go unloved again. Some even believe it's something to do with physical fitness. But all of us have this idea there's this imaginary line that once we cross it, life won't hurt anymore. I challenge you to find me a single person on this planet who isn't struggling in some way. I recently saw an interview with Dan Bilzerian, the Instagram king. And you know what his problem is? Everything in his life is the best, so it's very hard to satisfy him now. So you cook him the best food in the world and that's what he expects. If he gets anything less, he feels like it's rubbish. His other problem is trying to sexually satisfy his multiple model girlfriends. Now a lot of you will think, man, those are good problems to have. But I want you to think about it, he actually struggles with those problems. There is no end to the struggle, it just adapts to your new life. So no matter how much you achieve, and no matter how many milestones you cross, you're still going to struggle and suffer. The human brain is wired for dissatisfaction. It's actually a key element to our evolutionary success. We're never complacent for very long because we're always looking for the next best thing. The happiness that you're seeking will only ever be temporary, a brief reward before your brain starts to pick things apart and get dissatisfied again. And while you won't be happy for long, you can, however, increase how meaningful your life is, which is a completely different pursuit, one that doesn't have a finish line. Rather than trying to get to the retirement of all effort, understand you're always going to have struggles and hassles and problems and pain. Always. No matter how long you live, that will never end. But you do have some influence and some decision making available to you over what kind of pain you're going to have, over where you're going to struggle. And it doesn't have to be the shitty stuff that you're dealing with right now. You can have problems and struggles that you're proud to have. As Mark Manson says, self-development is all about finding better problems to have, not about getting to the end of problems. It's better to struggle with the financial fluctuations of starting your own business with something you're really passionate about than it is for the monotonous, dreary misery of going to a job you hate even though it's got a steady paycheck. Both of those are problems, but one of them is a more meaningful problem than the other. It's better to manage the emotional fluctuations, the highs and lows of a truly deep and meaningful connection with somebody than it is to grind through a boring but safe relationship where you don't feel connected. It's better to struggle through the burn of a difficult workout and have sore muscles the next day than it is to hate what you see in the mirror and be at high risk of cardiac arrest. There is no finish line, just the ability to constantly upgrade the meaningfulness, the quality of your problems. Make them problems you're proud to have rather than problems you feel are just suffering with no benefit. So those are 3 of the top limiting beliefs that I've seen in my work over the decades now that I've been working with people in this field. You tackle these 3 and your quality of life will increase dramatically. Hope you found that helpful. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Please share this around and comment below with your thoughts. And of course, if you found that some of this resonated with you and you want more deeper support with it, get in touch, dan@brojo.co.nz. We can talk about everything from becoming part of the Brojo self-development community through to one-to-one intense personal coaching. Have yourselves a great week. Cheers.